now Myanmar is opening up, do you think living conditions for minorities will improve?
That's a complicated question, and it's a question that a lot of the refugees are asking themselves, because obviously as things open up in Burma, if there is a shift toward democratic change, if there are promises for returning refugees who are repatriated, then the camps at some point will close down. And where will the people go? And there are three options. They're either resettled in third countries. 70% of the refugees who are resettled go to the United States. They stay in Thailand under some sort of agreement with the Thai government, or they repatriate back to Burma. But in order for that to happen, there will have to be programs in place to receive them. The land that they used to live on is no longer theirs. So where will they live? They will not have jobs. How will they find employment? What is their source of income? If they don't have land and they don't have jobs, how will they eat? So there are many things that need to happen in order for people to be able to go back home. There's no guarantees. Some people have already gone back home. They have family there. They found a way to make it work. This is a really big question that a lot of people are talking about in camp, at the level of the NGOs, the international NGOs, and of course between IOM and UNHCR and the two governments.
Mm-hmm. Do you see more minorities moving back to Burma now? Because Myanmar is opening up?
I've heard of some people who are going back. There's excitement. There is, for the first time in a very long time, there's an air of hope. Now is the time for the international community to keep a very close eye on what's going on. Many countries, United States, Canada, the European Union, are freezing their sanctions and carefully watching what is happening in Burma. But it is a time to look very closely at the promises that have been made, at the new laws that are being put into place. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Mm-hmm. Why are you interested in this line of work, human rights, public health, helping minority groups?
I started working with humanitarian work back in 1993 when I moved to Guatemala. Mm-hmm. And over the past 19 years, that has been my career path. And I feel very fulfilled and inspired by the people who I meet with my work. Mm-hmm. And I feel very rich in experiences and also with the community that surrounds me. And that's why I keep doing it.
Do you ever feel threatened or afraid of the situation around you in the border or even in Latin American countries with whatever you're doing?
To be honest, that's why I left my work in Latin America and came to Thailand. Well, one of the reasons. Here. Yeah, it's much safer here. I was amazed when I came to Bangkok and joined the Chula program. I can walk around Bangkok at 11 o'clock at night by myself and feel fairly safe.
But still, you have to be careful.
Still have to be careful, but in general, the society here, the culture, the people, it's a much safer place than all of the countries that I worked in Latin America. It's not to say that Thailand is perfect and Latin America is horrible. Latin America is a wonderful place, fantastic people, but the places where I was working were conflict zones that are very dangerous, or post-conflict zones that have great security risks. And one of the things that I absolutely love about Thailand is feeling safe and secure. In Mesat, my experience has been a very positive one. I haven't had any security issues. And in camp, it's the same. People have been incredibly warm and welcoming to me. There was a fire in camp in February, and about 450 houses were burned down, but no one was killed. There were a few injuries. So the security risks in camp for me, not being a refugee, are minimal. It's different for the refugees.
Do you live at the camp?
I work there 3 to 4 days a week.
But you don't actually live there, you live elsewhere.
I live in Mesat half of the week.
You had a degree in social work.
Yes.
And what you learn in the textbooks or in classes and compared to the work that you actually do on the ground, are they similar or are they different?
Yeah. Well, I think like any good higher education program, a master's degree in social work requires a field practicum. When I was learning in the classroom, that was complemented by field study. And I was working as the director of a Latin American community center for undocumented Latino migrants in South Carolina. So I was able to take what I learned in the classroom and implement it in practice. And that's how we have designed the Public Health Institute in Umpiam. The students are in the classroom 4 days a week, and they have a field practice every Friday working with community health educators through the American Refugee Committee.
Mm-hmm. Why did you go to Latin America in the first place, to all the conflict zones and dangerous places?
Well, I had earned a bachelor's degree at Penn State University in mass communications, focused in journalism. And upon graduation, I decided that I wanted to have an international experience. And I had heard about the Peace Corps program.
Right.
I applied and I was invited to join as a volunteer in Guatemala. Mm-hmm. That was my first experience living and working in Guatemala, and I was 21 years old, and it was absolutely life-changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why life-changing?
It was my first experience living in the global south in a developing country. I was living in a remote rural Mayan village with no running water and no electricity, and I was working with women's cooperatives. I learned how important it was to be part of a community in order to affect change. And I also learned that I thought I had come to give and to teach, but I found that I was learning and receiving 90% more, or it was about a 9-to-1 ratio of what I was actually benefiting versus what I could actually give to the people. And that's why I say it was life-changing.
Mm-hmm. Do you think more young people are interested in social work today?
I know many people who are interested in social work and who are actually going on to earn their degrees in social work. Just since I've moved to Mesat, I've talked with several people who are returning to the United States to enter a graduate program in social work. So I couldn't quantify the numbers, but I do think that social work is an amazing field, and no matter where I go in the world, I meet social workers. It's happened to me here today at the Rotary Conference. Mm-hmm. I just met a woman who was teaching me how to use a teleprompter, and she also has a master's degree in social work and one in public health.
Uh-huh. How would you encourage other people to do social work? Not study social work, but at least do some social work, volunteer or donate, help in general, help other people.
One thing I've learned in Thailand is that in Thai society, volunteering and donating is a big aspect of the culture. And people tend to do that. I was speaking with a friend of mine who's Thai, and he said that he and his family are taking a vacation to go down south to volunteer for 5 days to help people who are victims of the flooding. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, if I was in the United States and a friend of mine said that his family was going on vacation to help the flood victims, we wouldn't use the word vacation.
Yeah.
and it's not because my friend doesn't have a good vocabulary in English. It's because the concept of donating and volunteering, from what I understand, is an integral part of Thai culture. And so I don't think that people in Thailand need encouragement to do that, but rather to show other people that indeed this is an enriching opportunity. It's not about sacrificing, it's actually benefiting you because you learn and you create community by reaching out and helping other people.
Mm-hmm. In the United States, is giving donations or volunteering, is that part of culture? That's a very normal thing for anyone to do.
Yeah. In my opinion, in the US, because the government does not invest enough in social programs for the people, For example, we don't provide health care for our people, for the citizens of the United States. And we're the only industrialized nation in the world that does not. The idea of donating is very popular in the US because in order for non-governmental organizations to run, for churches to run the programs that they have for poor people, the money comes through donations. So people are very familiar with this idea of donations. Volunteering is also very common in the United States, but usually it's something that you do maybe once a week or once a month for a particular organization that you're a member of, not necessarily something that you do every day.